What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Just Status Quo. I am Dave, and today we will be doing our 2020 highlights.
And I'm Doug. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all the other YouTube stuff. And also, we've reached 200 subscribers, and we really want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. Keep it up.
Hi all, I'm Keith, and we're going over everything that we enjoyed from 2020. And like we said, everything that wasn't destroyed by the Nickelback tour of 2020. Now, on to the 2020 highlights. Welcome everybody. We're going over our top highlights from 2020, and we're going to open it up with The Clone Wars, the final season. We did get 12 episodes to finish out The Clone Wars, and this is probably a little lower on our list due to the fact that both the Bad Batch and the Martinez sister arcs were a little subpar, not the best, but the Siege of Mandalore arc was top notch. I mean, that was like tens across the board. So it definitely was a highlight of 2020.
Yeah, and the best part of it was that the people who probably didn't see the first six seasons of the Clone Wars, it became a big thing like when Disney Plus happened. And when they had that seventh season, people really got to know Ahsoka better. It set her up for better, for something we're going to mention later on The Mandalorian, set her up for her own show. I really loved her story arc. To me, that whole show was more about Ahsoka than in her development than anything else. There were other things, but obviously big things. But I liked Ahsoka's arc in that show the best. So love the Clone Wars final season.
I'd say my favorite part about that entire arc was probably the fact that they got Ray Park to come back and do mocap and choreography. That fight, we talked about it before, and we really wanted to be able to, kind of recap it and show it in all of its majesty. But unfortunately, Disney and the YouTube gods didn't quite agree. But yes, it was absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen it, definitely at the very least go back and watch that episode. It was phenomenal.
Absolutely right. That's probably the best animated action sequence that I've ever seen.
Next up on our list is Doom Patrol Season 2. Now, unfortunately, Doom Patrol Season 2 was cut short by one episode because of the Nickelback tour 2020. But what we got was absolutely phenomenal. They really did an amazing job of bringing the Grant Morrison run of Doom Patrol onto the small screen. I almost said the big screen, but it was so phenomenal. I mean, even, the one thing I was kind of worried about coming into the season was Abigail Shapiro. Whenever you have kids acting on a series, if their acting is a little subpar, it can really hurt the show, but she was phenomenal.
And I'm sorry to say that I missed the first season of Doom Patrol. So I watched the first and second season together, and I was just blown away by, Brendan Fraser's awesome. Diane Guerrero, the way she played that character it's incredible how she changes back and forth between the personalities. We always compliment people who were, doing that extraordinary acting. I think she knocked it out of the park. She did a great job. That show, I can't wait for the third season. I mean, I know it got greenlit, but is it still on? I don't know. I mean, we got a Nickelback tour to deal with.
2020 had a lot going on, but for sure, I will not forget some of the outlandish episodes that were part of Doom Patrol. They were really out there, and that's saying a lot for Doom Patrol, which is already a pretty psychedelic show. But the episodes this year, especially with the Sex Busters and a couple of the other strange episodes that we got to see, it was definitely very memorable. One of the better parts of this year.
Next up on our highlights of 2020 is The Boys Season 2. I mean, if you guys haven't watched The Boys yet, go binge Season 1 and Season 2. You will not be disappointed. It is such a well-crafted show. Great acting, great writing, amazing story. Now, this Season 2 did wrap up very nice and tight, and I know that was a problem a little bit for Dave and Doug. Now, that is kind of how the comic ran, so I'm looking forward to see where they go with Season 2 because we did find out a little bit at the end of Season 2 leading into Season 3 that should make it very interesting.
All I have to say, Keith, is if Stormfront doesn't come back as some sort of cyborg abomination, I'm going to be very upset. They need to do that for me. I need to see a Darth Vader Stormfront.
Yeah, it did kind of wrap up neatly, but there are a few straggler, plot lines out there. And like we're going to discuss with kind of the next show, when it's kind of wrapped up like that, they can go into any direction they want to. So they're very creative on this show. I've loved everything they did, all the casting. It's just been a top-notch show. So I'm looking forward to season 3 sometime in 2021.
And our final item in our highlights of 2020 is, of course, The Mandalorian season 2. I mean, not enough can be said about just how wonderful this show is. I mean, it brought so many things to life. We got the return of Boba Fett. He was pooped out of this other side of Tatooine and came back, got his armor back, and was the badass we all wanted him to be since our childhood. And we got the live action Ahsoka Tano, and we got Fennec Shan back, and we got a wonderful season with Grogu and Moff Gideon and everything that goes along with that. Clones, everything you could possibly imagine. And then they capped it off by probably the best episode of The Mandalorian, any Star Wars show ever, when Luke Skywalker came back to get Grogu. I mean, that was just, they kept that a secret. They are so good at keeping things secret. People wanted Luke Skywalker to come back, but no one knew for certain. The same way they kept Baby Yoda or Grogu a secret in season 1. No one had a clue that bounty was going to be baby Yoda, aka Grogu. And they did the same with Luke Skywalker. When that X-Wing was pulling up and Cara Dune said, "Oh, great, one X-Wing, we're saved." I was in tears. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. We finally got it. Now, the reason this is probably our top too is because so much spinning off is going to come. The book of Boba Fett, which I'm sure we'll talk about in our 2021 most anticipated. We got the live action Ahsoka, we got Rangers of the New Republic, and we got the Mandalorian season 2. So much is going to be going on, all because of the Mandalorian season 2. It was just incredibly well crafted, and I cannot say enough good things about it.
Yeah, this is definitely for me. I mean, all the other shows that we talked about, I was so heavy into when we were watching them, and all I've been thinking about since October, I think it was the 30th or the 31st Halloween, when The Mandalorian came out. That's all I've been thinking about ever since then. And I remember years ago, I don't know if anybody here watching has seen the show Dexter, and the season finale of season 4 it has been called one of the top moments in TV history. I think the season finale of The Mandalorian has to be top 10, top 5 maybe TV moments of all time for me. It was just incredible. I felt like a kid again, and I actually shed a tear. You can't say enough about it.
I honestly don't think that I have anything else that I could possibly add. You pretty much hit the nail on the head, Dave. In fact, I was so happy watching that episode, and it is such an easy rewatch just because of how great and how emotional it was. In fact, I think I'm going to go get some more of my blue milk right now.
Those were our highlights for 2020. What did you guys think? What were your highlights? Leave it down in the comments. We'd love to talk about everything 2020. That is, except for the Nickelback tour of 2020. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.